How is everybody doing out there? Are you wearing your costumes tonight? Yeah, the Saturday night before Halloween, but were you those people who wore it on Friday night? I always get a good chuckle at the Friday night crowd, the 2 days before the Halloween celebration. You guys know how it goes. It's usually that big Saturday before Halloween, and then if you want to go out on Halloween. So like if it was this year, it would be Saturday night, and then on actual Halloween early next week. You don't act like the Friday costume guy because you go out to a bar or something and like 40% of the people are in costumes. And God forbid you're at one of those places where there are minimal costumes. You really are a big asshole. But then again, you really aren't going to care about it if we have more days like we did on Thursday. And by my estimation, there's a whole contingent of people here who probably weren't watching these videos earlier in the year, because I have theorized that when somebody gets hot in any sport, there's some sort of secret orc horn that goes off like, then all the orcs sprint to the videos that were most recently hot. And being that I hit a plus 3,300 on Thursday, I imagine you're all here. So I'd like to welcome the orcs. Welcome. Whether you're an orc or an elf, it doesn't really matter because you're still getting a great promotion from Bet365. All you orcs, if you deposit $10 and you're a new user, a new orc over on Bet365, you make a $5 bet and you're going to get $150 in free bonus bets to use on whatever you want. I'm about to give out a variety of picks. You'll have $150 in free bonus bets to spread around on those picks. As long as you're over 21 outside of Kentucky, which you can be 18, and you're located in a state or province where sports betting is permitted. We got 3 separate links in the description of this video. You're going to see one for US users, one for Canadian users, and one for international users. So to that guy in Turkey, we got that one for you as well. But if you have a problem, make sure you call 1-800-GAMBLER. Even you orcs, you can call. We have some good picks for you today. And I know after big same game parlays, you want another big same game parlay. I can dish you some same game parlays on a Saturday, a Halloween Saturday, as long as you guys all dress up like pirates and grumble parlay for me at some point. Oh yeah, if any of you are maniacs enough to do that, you send that to me. You send me you dressed up as a pirate on Halloween. Oh, I'm including it in the next day's video. You want to be on the videos this week? Dress up like a pirate and grumble parlay. All right, so you guys, I'm sure you want some of these picks. I'm going to start with my favorite game of the week, not just for props that I'm going to give you some alts on like I did for that same game parlay, but this is actually my favorite side of the week. I talked a little bit about it on Francess and Friends. You guys definitely check that out. We did that on Friday afternoon here on the Odd Shopper channel. You can check it out on the YouTube page. But my favorite bet, Dallas Cowboys -6. They went into the bye coming off that big win against the Chargers in prime time. They got the stench of that Niners loss off of them. They're out there seeing the Niners lose a little bit. Now all of a sudden, they're right back in this NFC race. But more importantly, this has to do with the Rams. I never seen a team live off of a week 1 win more than these Rams. Every time like you're going to bet against the Rams or something, it's like, oh, come on, they beat the Seahawks. Enough. They had a good week 1 game against the Seahawks. I took Pittsburgh against them last week. That was a win. And this is going to be me taking Dallas against them this week. They lost to Pittsburgh in their own building. This was a team that was projected 5 wins. They're not that good. More so than that, I love the over on Tony Pollard rushing. I love the over on CeeDee Lamb receiving. On that Monday night, I believe it was against the Chargers, we said the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease, and CeeDee Lamb got his grease. But I don't think it was enough grease. He had a good day. I think he wants additional grease. I'm calling for him to have a second big day in a row. For CeeDee Lamb, this is a relatively low receiving total. We know he's an elite receiver. You had both Deontay Johnson and George Pickens go over like 60, 70 yards against this defense last week. I think CeeDee Lamb is a great play. Tony Pollard coming off the bye. They have his rush attempt set at 16.5. So if you tell me this guy's getting around 16, 17 carries, he's going over that rushing total. I'm going to essentially take a combination of those three. I want over 75 on CeeDee Lamb, over 75 on Tony Pollard, and the Dallas Cowboys to win -2.5. That's a pretty fat plus money parlay right there for you. In the Kansas City Denver game, Javonte Williams, these last 2 weeks, Breece Hall's getting all the attention for, now he's coming back the second half of the season. Now they're ramping up his workload. He's looking like the original Breece Hall. Torn ACL looks to be behind him. Well, similarly, Javonte Williams is rounding back into form. That's 2 straight weeks, averaging over 6 yards per carry. They featured him way more last week after seeing how he ran the previous week. And he ran very well last week. He had a touchdown called back on a hold. But if you were to listen to Sean Payton's comments after the game, he was talking about how they're increasing his touches, giving him more work. So I'm doing a Javonte Williams kind of across the board series of bets. I want his over 10.5 carries. I want his over on rushing yards. And I want his over on receiving yards. All 3 of those. You could same game parlay and use some alts. Like if you do the over on his carries, 75 plus rushing, I actually feel better for like 60 plus on DraftKings or something. And then his over on receiving, if you want to bump that up to 25, once again, another big fat plus parlay. But just those individual props by themselves, I definitely like. His standard over on rushing, his attempts, and then the third most favorite out of those 3 would be like the over 14.5 receiving yards. I want you to see if Sam Darnold plays, and they're saying it looks like Purdy's going to play, which is interesting. He's going to be the first player this year who was able to get cleared in under a week to play that Sunday from a concussion. But if Darnold plays, I'll never be able to get out of my head Sam Darnold when he started with Christian McCaffrey as his running back. I think McCaffrey had 14 catches in a game and like 10 in another. There weren't too many games where they played together because McCaffrey got hurt that year, and by the time he came back, I think Darnold was benched potentially. Christian McCaffrey over 3.5 catches if Darnold plays is a slam dunk, unless the Shanahan system refuses him to do that. But I know in his position, if he's dumped it off to him, and in those games, he got over 100 yards receiving. You don't forget something like that. In your first start, you want to look good. You want to take the sure thing, and that would be some check downs to McCaffrey and make some first downs happen. If Darnold plays, I'm hammering the over 3.5 catches for Christian McCaffrey. If Darnold plays, I'm going to take the 5+ and the 6+ receptions on the alternate line. But that does change. If Purdy plays, I still like the over 3.5, but not those alts. But I still will stick on that 3.5. I'm going back to a guy who, he'll screw me to the end of time, but it's not about revenge. It's about collecting some of my losses. This guy's due. He's beyond due. It's a borderline joke how much he's due. And they moved his receiving line down. I'm going to take the over on receiving yards for Devontae Smith, and I fully greenlight the 75+, which is going to give you solid plus money on that one. I like the Ramondre Stevenson. This is over in the Patriots game, the over on receiving yards. He had a couple long receptions last week. They don't have many playmakers on that team, especially the pass catchers. Bourne has been okay. Parker's dust. Juju Smith-Schuster's dust, which takes me to the next bet that I like. Demario Douglas showed promise. He showed like he was one of the only guys who actually had some zip, and he played in the slot last week. I don't care if Juju Smith-Schuster returns. His total is very low, and my prediction is that the Patriots are going to manufacture some touches for him, whether they're just quick screens, things behind the line of scrimmage. He's got a very low total, so I like the over on receiving yards for Demario Douglas. And then lastly, a guy who's been helping me cash for a couple straight weeks now. I don't know what it is. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. Happy to see him not in the lineup because you tend to get more production from the skill players. Last week, 90 yards and a touchdown. Darren Waller, his receiving total is still in the low 40s because they're playing the Jets. But if you think about it, the Jets are great shutting down wide. Think about this. They're not lining up Gardner against Waller. And if they do, then I made a big mistake. But I highly doubt that. They'll keep him outside on the receiver. And Tyrod's going to look Waller's way. The same thing that he's been doing these last couple of weeks. Even in that one game where Daniel Jones left early, I think it was against Miami, Waller hit his over because Tyrod was in the game. And Tyrod looks his way a lot. That's such a low total. I would take the alts 50, even 75. And all those alts I gave you, you can put some of those together. You're talking about fat stacks of cash. And that's what I have for you here. Week 8, no buys. There are conspiracy theories as to why that is. Doesn't matter. Regardless, buys, no buys, we need good luck to you and better luck to me. So make sure you're subscribed here to the Odd Shopper channel. Come follow me on social media, Instagram. On Instagram, sometimes, like last night, I drop extra picks in a broadcast channel that I have there called Sniff Central. Come follow my YouTube page. Check out Francis and Friends yesterday. We got all sorts of stuff for you to enjoy. Good luck for week 8. I'll be back with you to talk Monday Night Football. Hopefully, our pockets are deeper than they already were after Thursday night. I'll see you then.